My husband publicly expressed his desire for divorce, but continued our marriage for the sake of my family's wealth. I originally wanted to surprise my husband, coming back early from the girls' trip with his favorite spicy chips and beer, eagerly anticipating his smile when he saw me unexpectedly. But life has a way of underestimating its own drama. As I quietly opened the garage door and set the food down, I heard his voice, not joking with friends, but cold and brutally honest. I quietly crept upstairs, my heart suddenly stopping. Yes, I heard him say, marriage is a complete nightmare. I regret it every day. If it weren't for her family's money, I would have left long ago. The best part is not having to worry about rent and bills. My mind went blank. He continued, reaffirming vows, that's pure torture. I stand there doing this act, pretending I have love in my heart. He laughed, rent and bills, so casually. Suddenly, I became the money wife in his words. Just a tool he could use. Every word felt like a knife cutting through my insides. I could feel the pain tearing me apart. I silently returned to the car, sitting there for nearly 2 hours. Tears flowed, and even an elderly lady in the parking lot asked if I needed help. I lied, saying my dog had died, though in my heart I knew the loss I felt wasn't just about losing a pet, but everything I had lost in what seemed like a perfect marriage. For the next 5 days, it felt like everything was slowly falling apart. I knew I had to stay calm, and at least until I had all the evidence, I couldn't let him know that I knew. He started acting strangely, suddenly buying me flowers, arranging dinners, acting like the loving husband. And I, like an actor, repeated every familiar action with a blank expression. Update 1. After 5 days of staying calm, I decided to take action. My first step was to emotionally distance myself, reduce interaction, especially emotional. I began to be more distant, not as affectionate, occasionally seeming impatient. He was clearly starting to panic. That day, he called me 27 times. 27. He couldn't believe my sudden change, constantly asking if I was angry or if everything was okay. I knew he was starting to fear me. I decided to ramp up the pressure. I secretly began transferring money from our joint account into my own, each transfer within a safe range to avoid suspicion. At the same time, I intentionally told him a lie, that my father was reconsidering the family business, letting him know I was starting to handle our finances. Some comments suggested, you should try communicating with him, but we had tried many times before. Nearly every time he promised things would get better, but his actions were the complete opposite. We had discussed family roles and responsibilities several times, and I had suggested couples therapy, but he always claimed to be too busy or outright refused. Driven by these empty promises and disappointments, I realized I could no longer rely on them. I decided to take more decisive action and regain control of my future. Update 2. This weekend, Connor took me to meet my parents, and he was desperately trying to act like the perfect son-in-law. I knew he was doing this to gain their support. After all, my family had money. During dinner, he asked my father many detailed questions about the family business, clearly for his own future plans. This only confirmed his motive. A few days later, I accidentally found a second phone he had been secretly using at home, with messages about future plans with Dee's ex-girlfriend from college. He had been in contact with her, and even sent her money after we were married, promising that once his plans were complete, he would be with her. Edit. Some comments suggested discussing this issue with his family, but I always felt that revealing the truth before discussing it with them would only complicate things. Kunk's family was very attacked and tan went with a ham and up Canada popskissas. Sa it has an ticket kobaleskavadans best and Makungsha had up to hand. Up that thra, ufto confuman con custom mod has the detakakshan. Want to saw Melissa understand malagal uppens instead of preparing ping zavadans not in this furia. Also bagan sukrat la transfung mapusan assas from ukjant ukunt on its mom Makungsha over peace and was under control. When I finally confronted Kunka, I wasn't never at all, and no hanafi expected any of this. Though you remember what you said dong officer mom. You said dong officer ma. You said I was a bus thing and you left. We series. Use festined Paul and who kukla defended himself. That was just a joke with my friends. We've been undisable let a prushka. I didn't want any of that. A cold replied. Then you think it's all a bet to let. All you promised to will lose. You know, ovi kad you kulung mes and monowaf. That's how you summa. Also nath. Other some comments suggested a gava kunska chances to change oven kunsak savang the thap shamimakushin. But for ma ufti use of kaminakushin and to promises wed rishad this of unjod and beers. Tong hum constantly chef blem and avad udrusings rollishes. I had no trust left. Muchus was full himself, not for those broken promises. Up to fud that do my parents and Lusat and Sumram and Kunksfest was filled with panak. One month of the prison had that finished records from Makukans and mosages with da Kunksfest hanud what. Oxchabla bolova that you repeat had one on buff that are none said that who dramava hum from all family ukuns and trusts and kankunilla kulapse lavang hum with dogs gasa. When habagad maf was really going to annesso marpsha kumula crispendad. Ya already undadak marpish dake so mas just a passive wolf.